This is the step-by-step procedure on installing the ScaleGuard SP for scooters locations for the espresso machine. This is what the system looks like when it comes out of the box, and these are the two cartridges that come with the system. Okay, this is the pre-filter right here, which is the first filter that goes in, and this is the reverse osmosis membrane. So these are what we call sanitary quick change. At the top of the machine it says inlet. The unit just tips, goes in like that, and it's a quarter turn, and that's the pre-sediment filter. The second is a reverse osmosis. Once again, you can see the tabs on the top here. They just go right into the hole, quarter turn to the right, and lock in. The next thing we do is hook up the flow control, which is on the reverse osmosis, and that's the red tube. And it also has a connection here, which is a flow control. This actually goes right into the bottom here, which is for the reject on the reverse osmosis. That's a push connect fitting that just pushes in, it stops a little bit further, and it locks in. Stops and it locks in. And now your filters are in place. The system is all set and ready to go. Now we're going to go through the steps on the connection to hook up the additional tank and also the tubing, and put an online bypass on the system when bypass is necessary. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to start the connection for the system. You can go through any of the steps in order that you want, which best fits the installation. This is the extra additional tank that's installed at all scooters location for extra storage. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to connect a fitting to the primary tank, which is going to push right into here, and that's going to be a T, which will connect to our outgoing water line. But we have a blue John Guest 3/8 tubing, which we're going to connect to the auxiliary tank, and that makes that connection right there. When you get your auxiliary tank, it'll come with Teflon tape on the top and a ball valve in the box. All you do is screw the ball valve in until good and snug, and that's set and ready to go. Then you make your connection to the main system to connect the lines together. Make sure that the Teflon tape is on there and screw the ball valve. Do not over tighten to prevent cracking. The next connection we're going to put on is a John Guest tubing with a check valve, because this is going to be the water coming out, which will go to the espresso machine. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start to build our bypass. This is our inlet. This is the water that actually is going to feed the reverse osmosis system from the tap water. So we have a shut-off valve here, and now we're going to be building our bypass valve. So we're going to create a T in here, which is a 1/4 inch John Guest connection, with the valve here, which is going to go up to our bypass. And that connects to there. Now you can see the check valve. When the unit is in bypass, water cannot go back into the tanks. So the only water that goes into the tanks is purified water. So now we're going to make our connection from here with a 1/4 inch tube, and then this is going to go to a stop. So if your feed water source has a stop, the water goes from the feed to the T for the bypass. This valve is off, and then it goes right up to the feed water. So when the system is first initially put on, that line is open, the bypass valve is closed. Now we're going to make the connection of the product water, which is actually going to be hooked up to the espresso. So this is another 3/8 line with an inline shut-off valve. This will just connect right to there. Now we have the shut-off valve and then the extended tube, which will go directly to the espresso. So just to recap, we have two tanks connected, so the water flow comes from the regular water through the orange line up to the feed water. This is open, goes through the pre-filtration, through the membrane, up through the permeate pump, and then into the storage tanks. Once the tanks are full, the system shuts off. When the water is called for from the espresso machine, it goes through the check valve, which only allows water to go this way, through. This is in bypass, so the water flows straight and right to the espresso machine on demand. In the event of water outage, or if a filter needs to be changed, you're never without water. The only thing you have to do to bypass in the event that the tanks run out is to open this valve here. Now the water will automatically go through here and right through here, which will give you water until your service is put back online. Once the tanks are full, the bypass valve is just closed, and then it'll continue. Now you'll start with purified water opposed to filtered water. This line here is going to connect to the top of the permeate pump. This is a non-electric pump which helps produce more water by the use of the concentrate or the drain water. We have a quick connect line here, which is 1/4-inch tubing. This line here will go right to a floor drain. So as the RO system makes water, the reject water will go right to a floor drain. So once the system is hooked up this way, you turn your tanks on, you open up your valve, the system will start making water. It's going to take approximately 2 hours or so for both tanks, or maybe 3 hours depending on your pressure, for the tanks to fill. Once that is set, then you can open your line to the espresso machine and you have water flowing to the espresso machine. That's the system, that's the installation. Most of your parts will come with this. There will be some extra tubing in there. You cut that to desired lengths. If the tank needs to be set in a different configuration, you just loop the tank to whatever place. If this has to be setting behind or turned sideways or turned the other way, you can do that at any application to fit the need. This has a mounting bracket on the back which can be mounted underneath cabinetry with 2 set screws which will hold it up. In some applications, this tank or the secondary tank can set right on the floor or lay down on its side with a stand base that it comes with. This is a step-by-step of the installation of building the bypass and building the feed water, the hookup, and running the drain. If you have any other questions, call toll-free 800-727-0707. This is a schematic of the installation showing the SGLP RO system connected to the espresso machine coming from the main water source in the store. This is the DP190 system, which connects in water for filtered and scale inhibitor water, which goes to the coffee and the ice machine. In the event of a water-cooled ice machine, we only treat the potable water. We do not treat the water for cooling. This is what the DP190 system looks like here, and this comes complete. It'll have 2 outlets, but it'll come with a plug so you can plug the other outlet. It's inlet on this side and outlet after it goes through the filter and the scale out that side for ice and coffee applications. These flyers and other pictures will be included in your box with the reverse osmosis and filter system. Once again, it has our number on there. For any questions, please call.